hope everyone is having an awesome Wednesday. It's Abby here at High Five Practice, and I'm excited to bring you once again Let's Eat with Abby every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. Only as you guys know, when I say eat, I mean something a little different than food. Eat is something that I'm going to continuously say. It's our formula to generate lifetime patients for life, and it stands for educate, automate, and target. Again, that's educate, automate, and target. But I know this is the lunch hour, so you guys can physically eat while I break down some knowledge and fill you up with some information that's all things dental and marketing. This week, today I'm going to be talking about all things marketing. I want to break down what a lot of questions I get on a daily about marketing, about dental marketing, and what's best for everybody's practice. And really, it just comes down to, I understand you guys are all busy. It's very overwhelming when it comes to marketing, and you have the doctor, you're trying to do marketing or understand it while also just trying to be a clinician, while trying to be a caretaker, while trying to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. Sometimes you're HR, sometimes you are electrician or plumbers, right? But marketing is a whole monster in itself, and you need people that actually understand it and are experts in the field to make sure it is effective to be sought out. A lot of times then you move into giving it to the office managers or another team member on the team. But they're just as busy. They can be hiring new employees. They're going to be making sure your schedule's full for both the hygienist or all the hygienists and the doctor or doctors. Plus, they're wearing different hats as far as making sure that the team's taken care of. They're a little bit of HR, making sure they're fielding questions from internal team and patients. And a lot of times they get thrown social media or thrown different marketing tactics that they have to go about with not a lot of knowledge other than just doing some organic research and trying to figure it all out. And that's a lot. That's very, very overwhelming, especially for someone that, didn't really study it. You guys studied to be clinicians. You studied to be a doctor, a hygienist, an assistant. And that is it's a job in its own, and to take on marketing can be very overwhelming. There's so many things that are out there, and it changes every single day. And just keeping up with it, like I said, is a job on its own. So I get how it can be overwhelming. I get taking on the task of marketing can be a lot. So I just want to break down some general information about marketing to help you guys be set for success. So today I want to go over what types of marketing you should be doing for your practice, how to justify the cost of marketing, because that can be really confusing, making sure you're getting the right return of investment for what you're putting into, and then obviously just where to begin. So to start it off, let's just dive right into, if you are a scratch brand new practice, what should you do? So from the beginning, you absolutely need to make sure you have a website. Well, first off, you need a name and you need a brand. By being able to start off from the beginning and identifying your brand as a practice is huge. You're going to have a lot of competition out there. And it's also, it's the face of your company. It's going to identify for here on out. So you want to make sure it's something that you love. You can always, there's different logo sites out there that you can use to get a lot of different requests at once. So like Design Hill is a great example. You can actually submit requests and they'll create those logos for you. Or you can work with marketing firms. You can work with agencies that focus on creating a brand, creating logos. Again, this is an investment that you're putting in, but it's going to work all over time. So it's well worth it to make sure you're identifying with a name that exudes your practice and what the patient's going to experience with your practice. Brand, as far as logo and colors, those are so important, even down to what your building colors are going to be, what your sign's going to show, what the icons are going to be used. Think of your social platforms. Your logo, your icons are going to be used throughout your identity of your practice. So really identifying what you want. You can always change it up. You can always revamp styles, right? Big companies do that all the time. Why not you? But that's definitely the starting ground. You want to identify your name, get your brand, get your logo. And then from there, you want to work in making sure you have a website where people can learn more about you. And there's so many options out there when it comes to websites. If you want to have it more custom, if you want to have cookie cutter, it really just identify what you need at your practice and what functionalities you need. And they need to be able to get there. So for one, what the main purpose of a website is for them to understand who you are and to book an appointment. Like at the end of the day, that's what you want them to do. You want them to book an appointment. So make sure that's easy. The phone number is accessible. There's buttons throughout the website that makes it easy to act. We always say use photos of your team, even if it's just you right now, or if it's you and maybe another team member. You can use those photos of your office. You can use patient photos, be more patient-centric. That allows you to showcase who you are without actually having stock photos, because it helps if they see people like them. If I see someone that looks like me or I can relate to, then I can already see myself at your practice. So having a website that has custom photography is very, very key. Where if you use stock photography, a lot of times you're going to get lost. You're not going to stand out against competition. So keep that in mind. When it comes to a website, especially starting out, you want to have your own brand on it. You want to make sure it's custom to you, custom photography, most importantly, a phone number that's prominent, and request an appointment. Sometimes with request an appointment, you can just have the form within your website that the web team can build for you, or you can just have, if you have an appointment reminder of some sort, technology like RevenueWell or Weave or Lighthouse or something to start off with. Typically, when you're a scratch practice and you don't have a lot of appointments yet, you don't really have a patient base yet, it could be good to start off with Weave and have a great phone system, and then also utilize their appointment reminders, and then you can build off of that down the road. But that's a good starting point. So you want to make sure if they call the number, they can call you. So I would definitely recommend Weave. Is always the most popular, most loved phone system out there in dental. So starting off with that, being able to text with your patients from the get-go, and also being able to have them request appointments and communicate with them and give those appointment reminders so they don't no-show will be key for the beginning of your practice. Now, it's kind of pointless to have a website at this point if you don't have a lot of traffic going to you. So while you're coming up with your website, you want to make sure that you, especially as a scratch new practice, ads are going to be more beneficial in the beginning, because you need people to know who you are. You need to know that you exist. So online, you need to have listings. So these are sites like Google, Yelp, Facebook. Even if you just type in any business, like a local business, and look at all the pages that come up on the first page, these are where you want to have your own presence. So for dental, you want to have, like I said, obviously a Google business account set up, Facebook, Yelp, LinkedIn if you want, Maps. You want to make sure you're set up on Maps. So Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze. Those three are really key. So if people book an appointment with you, you want to be sure that they find you. Or if they type in dentist near me, that helps with the map listings. So have those. Also health grades. And even if you have financial options like Care Credit, that also can help, because you can show within their listings as well if people are searching for dentist providers with Care Credit. So those are different ones that you can have available. If you have a profile on them, make sure you have control, whether you have someone else do it for you, or you pay an agency to do it for you, or a listing company to do it for you. Or if you just have a team member, someone that can handle the listings, you want to make sure the phone number is correct, the address is correct, the photography, if you had custom photos on your website, add those to your listings. And there's a lot of great resources out there to teach you how to do that with each listing that's providing. So Google's going to walk you through how to create your own Google business account. Facebook is going to have great articles that'll coach you along the way to make sure you're set for success. So you want to make sure you establish that presence online right off the bat, and you want to make sure that information's accurate. And down the road, when you are a practice longer, make sure you don't have more listings or duplicates being created. Sometimes when you work with other companies or other agencies, they might create listings for you as well to track. You want to try to avoid that, because that's confusing to the patient. And it's also confusing for you because it's hard to keep track of all those listings. If you change your phone number, if you change your website, things like that happen. And you don't want to have misinformation out there. Or if someone buys your practice down the road, you want to make sure everything is tightened in a little bow and that it's easy to find and you're easy to find online for a new practice as well. So just to reiterate, you want to make sure you have listings. You want to make sure those listings are accurate. So when people find you, they're not frustrated from their first experience by going to the wrong location, calling the wrong phone number, or going to the wrong website and booking an appointment with somebody else, right? So those top listings are going to be very key. I also mentioned ads. Ads are really great in the beginning because they help push you in front of audiences that you're not already exposed to. So you might have a Facebook page, right? But if nobody knows that it exists or who you are, it's going to be hard to find that page. Therefore, there's no value there, right? So you need to have some kind of ad, whether that's on Facebook or a Google, a pay-per-click ad. So every time someone is clicking, that's when the more you pay, the more you get out of it. There's also SEO, which is search engine optimization. That's a more organic approach. And you can work with agencies that do this. They focus on making sure you rank higher with competition to help you stand out as far as other dentists in the area. So that way, when people type in dentist near me, you want to make sure that you're standing out and that you're ranking, especially as a newer practice. It's going to be hard though. I will say that organically, you have to compete with people that have already had a presence for years before you, that have had photos before you, videos before you. So those ads are going to help give you a push to get you up at the top. A lot of times you'll see that if you search for something, you're searching on Google for an article or some kind of resource, and you'll see at the very top, it'll say an ad and it'll have something that you can direct to. Those are your ads that you can purchase to help you rank and get more of a presence. It also depends on your community. It depends on where your practice is located. All dental practices should have 20% of their profits should be going into marketing. And if you are in a more higher concentrated or competitive area, you're looking at closer to 30%. That's going to help you get your name out there, especially in the beginning. So just keep that in mind. You're going to be putting a lot more up front. And I know it's hard because in the beginning, that's when you're getting your loans, you're paying for all your equipment, you're paying for your building. There's a lot happening in the front end. But marketing is very key to get your name out there so you can be successful in the beginning and throughout. You really need to create that patient base, right? So a good push on that is by putting money into ads, by making sure you have an online presence with websites and your listings. Of course, Google reviews are going to be key as well. You want to make sure you're generating reviews. We always recommend Swell. They can help push that fast. But at the same time, you have to have patients that are coming in before you really want to turn on to generate reviews. So in the beginning, I would just make sure you're asking every single patient, you're telling them, and you're making it easy for them to go ahead and write that review. So that when people do look you up, you stand out because you're getting people to ask about you. Those first beginning patients, it's very, very key to get those reviews and make sure that they act on that to help get your name out there. Earlier, I said community. It definitely isn't old school to go out and be involved in the community to be known. Again, it really depends on where your practice is and what kind of community you're located in. Like we're in Nashville, Tennessee, you're going to have a lot more competition out there. You're going to have a lot more practices. I mean, literally with multiple practices and within the same building, it's a little bit harder. But if you're in a smaller community, you can even, of course, sponsor school events, and in bigger communities too, cities, sponsor school events if you're an ortho especially or pediatric, right? Be involved, have your name out there, make it easy for them to act because they'll see your name and they won't know anywhere else to go, right? You also can always sponsor events. You can get your name out there by any kind, like having your own events, or if there's like farmers markets or anything like that, you can always, of course, t-shirts help, giving out your patients t-shirts in the beginning. So then they wear your brand throughout. Those are brand advocates. That always helps as well. Referrals are going to be key. So letting people know that you're new and that you want to make sure You have more patients just like them because you love them, and helping us spread the word always helps. It means a lot. Saying stuff like that to your current patients that you have will help you grow. I've also had practices do radio ads. They do maybe ads like with NPR or on Spotify. So there's different avenues that way that you can go on. Also, having an open house, making it an event, is really an amazing experience for a lot of practices but you have to promote it properly. And in order to promote it properly, you need to have social media, right? So you need to make sure you're putting it on Facebook, you're documenting it on Facebook. So building that presence online and then also being more involved in the community, it really cycles everything in and helps everything talk together. So that's going to be a huge factor right from the beginning, is being involved in the community and being sure they can find you online so they can actually act. I also, having great relationships with specialists is always very key if you're a general dentist. Having them introduce you to other practices in the area, having them introduce you to other specialists so you can build your own dental community, being involved in organizations. So like TDA here, Tennessee Dental Association, or ADA, just being involved in any kind of networking event where you can help get your name out there, and hearing other people that have been in your shoes is always beneficial for you to be able to identify how to grow your practice. And really just envision what you want your practice to be and execute on it and brag about it. And you can brag about it by having it on your website, by having it on social media. We always like to recommend videos from the beginning, because videos, instead of you talking about it and trying to be in all these places at once, you can have videos, and that'll help you stand out against competition. That'll help you be identified a lot easier, quicker. And also having that on social media, it'll help with your engagement. It'll help get you out there. Your ad companies will love you for it if you have some kind of videos to really drive it home. So again, if you're a scratch new practice, first you need to get your logo, you need to get your name. Then you need to make sure you have a website, get yourself online, an online presence. So that would be with listings like Facebook, Facebook, Google, all the maps. So Apple Maps, Yelp. You want to make sure you have a presence on all of them. Of course, if you can afford or put money into ads, that's going to be key to help build your patient base. So then you can actually generate new patients into your practice, because you're going to need to have more new patients than ever in order to retain them. So first, the focus is new patients, and getting them in. And then having some kind of videos is going to be really key too. Whether you get that with a professional, or even if you do it over your phones, or if you're getting it with a friend that has some kind of videography experience, these are all really helpful to get your name and get who you are out there. And then using custom photography with everything, not stock photography, so you don't fall behind or look like another dental practice. Stand out against competition and make sure people know who you are. And then of course, community. So be involved in the community any way you can to get your name out there and to help people. As soon as they meet you, they want you to take care of them. So you just have to be involved in the community and expose yourself. And then last but not least, referrals. You need to really have a strong referral program, even if you are incentivizing patients in the beginning. If you refer a friend, we'll give you a gift card, or, maybe we'll have you in a raffle. We always say you don't need to do that. Try doing it without an incentive. But sometimes in the beginning, the very beginning, it's hard. You have to get that extra push. You have to have some kind of database, patient base to work off of. So those extra pushes are really going to help. Now, let's say you purchased a practice. That could be a little different. If you already have a patient base and you're taking it from someone that's maybe retiring, or they just sold their practice and you bought it from them, so now you have patients to work from. That's a great starting ground for you. In that case, like I said, with website listings, you want to make sure in social media, you want to make sure that that any changes you're making as a new business owner, that you put that on all those platforms so there's no confusion. Especially, I see this a lot of times with practices that originally it was the doctor's name, and then the practice name was the doctor's name. So let's say Abbey Sanderson DMD is my practice name, and then let's say Brooke buys my practice. Well, you're obviously not going to continue to use my name, so you're going to switch it. you're going to have to go to each listing and you're going to make sure to change the name on that. You're going to want to make sure your brand, your new revamp is exuded across all those platforms so the patient isn't confused. Now, what I will say, what really helps is if you put like a DBA or formerly known as, because if patients don't realize that you bought the practice, which they probably don't, you need to have some kind of form of communication to say, hey, this used to be Abbey Sanderson DMD, but have the new name. That helps people understand like, oh, I'm not at the wrong place, or I'm not confused, or I'm not messing up on anything. It looks like someone else bought it out. That's interesting. You also don't want the patient to hear about it the first time by Googling you. So make sure at that point, if they already have a communication software such as RevenueWell, NextHealth, Lighthouse, Weave, just blank Solution Reach. If you have any of those softwares, then, or if they have it, you need to make sure you send out a campaign to all your patients to announce that you are the new owner. And you don't want to do it in a, hey, we just bought the practice, you're going to notice, and it's just kind of abrasive, right? You want to make sure you are celebrating with the patients and explaining what's going on. They want to know, they've been loyal to this practice for so many years. They want to understand what's going on and they don't want to be blindsided. So even having the old doctor, if it's possible, introduce the new. If you just previously bought, or if you just bought it, if the previous doctor would collaborate with you and say, hey, I don't want to lose the patients you currently have. Can you help me with this transition? It's always great to do a video of, like I said, let's say I sold my practice to Brooke, then I can do a video with her introducing her. Therefore, when they meet Brooke, they know that I have signed off on it, that I trust her with you, and it just helps with that transition. So for instance, I would make a video that's like, hey, I'm really excited to let you guys know. Again, it's all about excitement. It's not sad or scary. It's exciting. So, hey, Dr. Sanderson here, and I'm really excited to let you know that I am actually going on to the new chapter of my life, and it has been amazing working with all of you. I appreciate all of you, but I am now been doing dental for 50 years and I'm going to be retiring. But don't worry, I'm going to set you up for success, and I want to introduce you to this awesome new doctor that's coming in, Dr. Brooke Voss. And then that's when she would come in and introduce herself. So there's that transition from doctor to doctor to help set you guys up for success. And so patients are blindsided. They feel like it's more of a celebration. They're excited to meet the new person that's taking over. And it's more of an experience. It's more like they're part of it and they're not just being told about it. They're experiencing it with you, and they want to understand who this new doctor is and what the different things are going to be bringing in, instead of being scared of change. So if you make a video like that, putting it on social, putting it on your website, making sure it's easy to find, and then absolutely sending it out to all patients, letting them know that is going to be key. But you have to have some kind of communication software in order to communicate to all of your patients at once. And you don't want to, a lot of times practices, they just tell them patients when they're in the office, they announce it, which is great. It's good to have that personal touch, but you need to do it on top of sending it out to everybody, because you can only tell so many patients that you see, and you're going to forget to tell some of your patients. Some are going to drop off. And then what about the ones that don't have an appointment? And maybe they're holding off on treatment, or maybe they're holding off on booking an appointment for some reason. But by reaching out and letting them know that this change is happening, that could excite them to book their appointment they've been waiting on, or remind them to book that appointment. So making sure that you're actually making them a part of it, your patients a part of the change, will help your chances of retaining those current patients and help them understand what's going on. If you blindside them, you are opening up the opportunity to lose them. And that's not an opportunity, that's a loss. So we want to make sure that we're nurturing them through every transition so they can feel confident. So as far as a scratch practice, new practice, you're going to have a lot of new patient-focused marketing. So it's going to be more driven towards ads, more referrals, more new patients. When you have when you have a practice that you bought that was currently purchased, you're going to want to focus on retaining those current patients. You want to focus on getting those or keeping them there, and then having them refer to continue to grow your practice from the inside out. And And that also ties along with established practices. So if you're an established practice and you're looking at marketing and trying to figure out, I just want to take my practice to the next level. I just feel like I'm stuck and I'm constantly putting a lot of money out there and I'm not seeing a lot of return of investment, or I don't know how much is too much. Again, 20% is that mark of your profits that you want to be looking at. So you should be putting 20% of what you make into marketing in order to really get back what you want. And as far as an established practice or even a purchase practice, your main opportunity is looking at your current patients. You have the patient base, you have the patients currently. You want to keep them coming back and accepting treatment. But you also, obviously, there's going to be attrition no matter what. So you do want to have some focus on new patients. But as long as your brand is now established, as long as you have your online presence, you have a website, you have a social media presence, now all you have to do is make sure that it's easy for them to act and that they feel like they're part of the experience with your practice. It's easy for them to book an appointment and it's exciting and they love being a part of your team or being a part of your dental family, and they just want to be brand advocates. That's what you want to create, brand advocates. So that being said, your main focus should be on your current patients. You have to have, no matter what, some kind of system that's going to communicate to your patients, whether that's appointment reminders, recall reminders, treatment plan follow-up. Turn those on. You want to make sure those are automated messages that can make sure your patients always have the same amazing, unmatched experience every time instead of trying to do things manually. That will happen with these types of softwares. Again, that's RevenueWell, NextHealth, Lighthouse, Solution Reach, Modento. And some people use Weave. I mean, Weave works as your bare basics, which is great. Something is better than nothing. As long as you can take some kind of work off of your plate, that's where you want your focus to be. Of course, I'm going to recommend we can do all that for you. We can manage that for you. We are a team of experts that can focus on patient communications and make sure they're effective. Our campaigns actually can generate anywhere from 10 to 100 appointments per email sent, versus having your front or the doctor sending out emails that aren't maybe generating 5 appointments, and you're only sending it out when you need it, right? It's not going to work as abrupt as you would like it, because that's a whole marketing in itself. Reviews, your now established practice, you have the patient base, you have the opportunity to generate more and more reviews. So if you're established, look at your competition in your area and see how many reviews they have. You can absolutely get something like Swell and have that turned on, automatically asking patients after their appointment with how their experience was with you and generating those reviews to stand out against competition. That way, when people do refer you to their friends and family, and that friend or family member looks you up online, they see the Google reviews. They see that you are exceeding your competition. They're going to trust not only their friend that just referred them to you, but also the people online that are also vouching for you. So quantity is really going to help, as well as quality. You want that higher rating as well. So based on how many patients you see a day, you should absolutely be generating multiple reviews every single day to help keep those numbers going out. And again, it really comes down to the software that you're using, because you want to make sure it's easy for the patient to act. And Swell is absolutely going to be a great resource for you. I get a lot of questions about social media as well as an established practice. It depends on what your goals are, and it depends on what you're going for. You have to have a social media presence of some sort. And I would always recommend having somebody focus on social media doing that for you. So we always recommend Clint over at Social DMD. They can always set you up and make sure that they have consistent posts going out for your practice to help promote what you have going on. But a lot of times there's a lot of agencies, there's a lot of times people hire interns or they'll hire somebody just to focus on social media. But it's really, you need some kind of presence to help stay in their face. You can also do ads. It's tricky. Ads can be a gamble, right? They work, the more money you put into it, the more you're going to get back. So that's really what you have to have a clear goal in mind of what you want to get out of the ads. If you want to have more dental implants, let's say, you're going to get more profit back for those. That's worth it. And you want to do an extra push on those high value treatments. Ads can definitely be a great value for you. I would highly recommend just using your current patient base, like what we do with patient communications, focusing on the current patients you already proposed and getting them to accept before reaching out and getting more people to propose treatment for. A lot of times, naturally, you think, oh, well, I don't have a lot of implant appointments booked, so I've got to go out and get new patients, new implant cases, and put a lot of ads out there in order to get them in. But fact is, you have 50, 200 patients that have been proposed implants right in your patient base, but they just haven't accepted yet. Well, let's figure out why they haven't accepted, whether it's financial, whether it's time, whether it's just lack of knowledge or authority to trust you to be the one to do the implant. These are emails that you can be sending to those specific list of patients that have been proposed implants to help increase your acceptance rate. Then if that's not working, or if you don't have a lot of patients in your current patient base that have been proposed and you do need a new audience, that's when ads can really come into play, because you need to be proposing to more people. Your patient base just maybe not be, maybe it's a younger patient base, maybe it's just not, maybe it's a smaller patient base, you need more, then yeah, absolutely. Ads are going to be a great value to your practice. They're going to be benefiting you to make sure you're hitting those types of goals. But again, you really just got to reflect on, what do I want to achieve? What's my goal? And then how can I get there? And that's where marketing can get confusing. But as long as you understand that, okay, if I want new and I need new people to work from because I don't have enough patients in my current patient base, or I don't have enough proposed, then you can go for ads. Then you can go for more of an immediate fix, but you're going to have to put more money into it. I'm just saying. If you have a patient base, if you can work with your current patients and you just need them to accept, nurture them, educate them, let them know there are opportunities through email and text and even phone calls to really generate those acceptance to go up. So yeah, you need a social media presence. Absolutely. You need some kind of consistent messaging at least 3 times a week. If you can do something every day, you can create stories. That's only going to make you stand out better or more. But even just having some kind of information that's consistent out there is going to help people understand who you are. And when you think of social media, I always recommend to have it personalized. So you want to have photos of your team, of your office, of your patients, even celebrations. So it's my 8-year anniversary. Yay. That could be something that you're celebrating, or we've been in practice for so long, or Doc just got married. Yay. Like celebrating those little life milestones are always great social posts. And then if you want to do more of something, post more about it. They don't know about it. They don't know you do it. They're not going to start that conversation with you. So if you want to do more dental implants, talk about dental implants, but not in a way that's like, we do dental implants, but like give the value, give the, talk to your patients directly on how that benefits them. Talk about financial options, talk about how long it takes to do an implant. Think of the questions that you typically get from your patients about that service or whatever you're trying to promote, and answer that on social media. That always keeps them engaged because you're doing something on the front end. So social media, you need to have absolutely. As far as consistency in ads, it really just depends on your goals and how much you want to put in and what in order to get back. You absolutely need reviews. You need to be generating reviews consistently to stay above. And you absolutely need patient communications. If they don't know how to book, or I always love people say like, oh, I have a website, so I'm good. That's my marketing platform. How are they going to get to your website if you're not doing social posts, if you're not communicating them through email and text messages? They have to get there some way. And you have all these resources most likely on your website, like your patient forms, maybe to book an appointment. I hope that's on there. If they want to know your financial policies or your financial options, if they want to meet your team, is usually a popular page. They can't learn all this information that you've put out there for them if they have no way of getting there. So making sure that you're directing them to the website for those resources and using it as a tool. But just having a website does not set you up for success. It just gives you a spot in real estate. It just gives you a spot online. But you have to get people there in order to act. And the way you do that is through social media and through patient communications. And then if ads, if necessary. So those are the biggest tips that I can give. Also having some type of referral program. I mentioned that a little bit as far as like purchasing a practice or starting a scratch practice. Even having like referral cards in the office is what we have done in the past for our offices. Starting that conversation, giving them the cards, letting them know, hey, we love having patients just like you. We love it if you refer to your friends and family. Here's some cards. If you want to pass these out, they can bring them in for the next appointment. A lot of times they don't bring those to their appointment. That's fine. It's just starting that conversation and having some kind of printed material that's floating around with your information to see if they act on it. But having that conversation and letting them know that you would love to have a referral and reviews and consistently telling them that you're seeing new patients, that's going to be huge. And that's going to help that organic type of flow of new patients for your practice. So you're not constantly focused on just always purchasing patients, but instead organically getting them, because what we found that eliminates price shoppers. So if you have a deal for new patients, for instance, you're attracting patients that potentially aren't going to be loyal to your practice. These are patients that are coming in for a good deal, taking up your hygiene chair, and then never seeing you again, where what you want them to do is have you their first appointment with the hygiene chair and then move their way to actually accepting treatment. They can't do that if they're just price shopping and they're just taking the best bang for their buck, and then they go across the street for the next hygiene and the next and the next. We want to eliminate that. You want to have a patient base of loyal patients that are advocates of your practice. And if you let them know that they are important to you and that you want more patients like them, you're complimenting them. You're making them feel good. Therefore, they're going to tell their patients, or their friends and family more about it and help spread the word. So it's not just on you and your team, but you're also creating advocates within your practice. So I hope this helps a little bit, you guys. I know this is always very, like I said, overwhelming as far as marketing. There's so many options out there. Our focus is obviously EAT. That's why I have this, Let's Eat with Abbey, right? It's because you need to educate your patients and let them know about the opportunities that they have in general in dentistry. And then also consistently target them so they understand, so they know that they can do that with you. So they absolutely make it easy for them to act and make sure that they understand that they wouldn't want to go anywhere else. Because first off, I don't want to have to start over with another practice. I'm already here. Why start fresh? And second, it's right in front of me. I can book an appointment and I can just easily act from there. So I'm gonna. And then if you automate some, your team is going to thank you for it because they don't have to manually send out these messages, stay on top of it, on top of the workload that they already have. I do want to drive home some stats that I most frequently say, but I think it's really, really important. And that's just focusing on your current patient base. And why it's so important is because you are actually, I'm pulling it up here so you can see it. Acquiring a new patient is anywhere from 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. You guys, this is really important. If you have a patient base that you already can communicate with and they just need to accept treatment or keep coming back for recall, why wouldn't you make it easy for them to do that? Keep them for life, and do that by educating, automating, and targeting your communications to your patients. But if you have an established practice, most businesses would kill. A restaurant would kill for the amount of patients or the amount of customers that you guys have right at your fingertips. And I know that your patients, you're just seeing it as taking care of them, which absolutely, you're a caretaker. But it's also about making sure they're coming back, making sure that you're educating them because you have the tools to do that. You have their information, you have their emails, you have their text messages, and it pertains to their healthcare. It pertains to what they need. Therefore, you can educate them through those platforms. And then if you have a strategy to make sure you're not only saying it through your patient communications, but you're doing it through social, or you're stepping it up through videos and making sure it's a different type of way of communicating, they'll stay with you for life. I guarantee it. I've seen it every day with our practices, and it's really amazing how neglected you find your current patients, because the focus of marketing is so much on new patients. And if you just keep the ones you currently have, keep them coming back, make them happy, and turn them into brand advocates, you will have a happier patient base, you will have a happier team, and you will love coming to work every day because it's patients you actually want to see. It's people that are loyal to you. And therefore, it's not just about the quantity, it's about the quality of patients, the right patients. And that's what it comes down to as far as marketing, making sure it stands with your core values, making sure it stands with what you want to exude and put out there. That's what marketing's all about. It's just branching out to get obviously more business, but also getting the word out about who you are and making sure you are growing your community and spreading that knowledge around. So when it comes to marketing, you have a lot of options. If you ever have questions or just want to pick my brain or my team's brain, by all means, I'm always happy to talk. You can leave some comments in below. Otherwise, you can always visit our website at highfivepractice.com and you can schedule time, a consultation, a marketing consultation with me. And I'm happy to go over, me or Trevor, and we're happy to really go over what is going to be best for you. Because I get it. Every practice is different. Everybody has different goals. There's going to be different marketing strategies you have to go about it. And if it's not with us, I'll be sure to point you in the right direction. We have a lot of great affiliates and partners that I can point you over to make sure you're set for success. Because guys, marketing is absolutely overwhelming and you are busy. You have too much to go through and go about your day. And I want to make sure you're taken care of. Dental community, we all got each other's back. So that's what I want to do. I want to help and we want to help. So make sure to schedule a time with Trevor or I, and we'll be happy to go over a consultation and set you guys up for success and point you in the right direction. I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. That's all I have for Let's Eat with Abbey this week. Next week, if you want to join me, I'm going to be with Peyton Branch, our very own campaign manager. We're going to be talking about effective campaigns and advancements that you should be putting into place today for your patient communications to set you up for success. And that'll once again be on Facebook Live next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. I look forward to seeing you guys there and have a great rest of your Wednesday. Bye, guys.